everybody?
Oh.
App check. How we feeling, man? How we doing, everybody? Good afternoon. We got a Thursday.
Yo,
I got 8 more minutes of cardio.
you got 8 more minutes of cardio.
Okay.
Sending.
Done.
You want me to do it all cardio?
Yeah.
No, wait.
Or
Wait 10 minutes.
Wait 10 minutes.
Wait 10 minutes.
Also,
10 minutes?
yeah, after cardio.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Where do you want the link?
Just text it to me.
Okay.
Alright.
Yeah.
Great. Mary, welcome back, Mary. Man, I haven't talked to you in a while. Much love. Yeah, we talked about that. Make sure to go in there, Titan Crew. We talked about
Neurodivergence? Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about something.
yes, you can. Hello, welcome.
Is it important to measure testosterone once, just to know?
I don't think just once. I think you should always be measuring it.
Mhm.
But here's the thing: you measure it and you find out where you're at, right? Then you find out how your nutrition is helping you boost your testosterone, how your daily activity is helping you boost your testosterone over the next 3 to 6 months, right? And then you test it again to find out, are you keeping it up? Are you overtraining? Are you doing other things? Because you're saying one thing, right? The testosterone, but there's a lot of different aspects to the blood work that Titan Medical does. And so my thought to you would be, yes, test it, find out where you're at, but then also check it out a couple times a year, at least. And again, if you're just going through life and you're just Joe Blow and you don't really care about longevity or health or those kind of things, you just kind of like, I just want to know where it's at, then yeah, once. But if you guys are really serious about what you can do now in health and fitness, my recommendation is use that as a tool. Use it as a tool. It's such a great tool to find out if it's working correctly, and how your nutrition and how your training and how everything is doing. There's so many aspects of somebody that can read your blood work really well and can tell you, hey, you're overtraining. Hey, you're not taking enough food. There's a lot of aspects to it. It's a real beneficial thing. Something we didn't have as kids, and in our teens and 20s, we didn't have that. So, yeah, great question though.
I like that he really says just to know.
I do too, because just to know would be that he's not really serious about his health and fitness, which would be a lot of people. So don't take that the wrong way. A person that's really serious about their health and fitness in their life would be taking more advantage of that. So, and again, maybe you guys are so young, you don't realize that it wasn't available back in the day. You couldn't just, hey, I'm going to go get my blood work done and find out where it is. And then if something's wrong, a company that can actually help you optimize your health. That's huge. You guys are set up. Here's the bottom line. You guys are set up in today's day and age to be tenfold better than I ever was.
Crazy.
I mean, I would think that would motivate you, because I was thinking about this today, that Clark Bartram is 62, Billy Gunn is 62, and these guys are freaking savages. And I'm closing in. So what would you guys be like at that stage of the game now? So now you're looking at your college years as your best years. In no way is that true anymore. It's tenfold. You guys get to be just absolute savages for a lifetime. And that's cool. It's cool for me being a father. My son is just turned 6, and he's going to be set up to be healthy for a lifetime. And Represent. Thank you for the question.
Bye.
Oh, hey, give me a hug. Here he's off to jujitsu. Oh, kiss. Kiss. Thanks, buddy. I love you. Little pat on the head. Oh, little shake, shake.
What the heck?
What the heck?
Is creatine absolutely necessary if I'm lifting 6 days a week?
So we'll go twofold. It's necessary now if you're not training. So there's the first fold. So it's just necessary to have. It's like D-vitamin or taking your multivitamins and stuff and zinc. And just everybody should have it, training or not training. Now, if you're training, it's tenfold. So, and again, the studies on the whole 5 grams is out the window. It's like I was saying to you guys before, I'm a 15 grams a day. I'm 5 before, 5 after, and 5 later in the day. So up that creatine. Great question though.
How's your BJJ journey?
Fun. I think if you know what it's like, I can tell. So it's fun when you start playing the chest and start understanding. Here's the other thing though. It really is a cool thing to do at this stage of my life, to find something that's so frustrating and fun. So it's a pretty cool thing, mostly because I'm a wrestler and a judo player. So judo is I'm standing the whole time. I'm never going down. Wrestling, I'm on top of you. And I'm being taught by a great master, Alicio Silva, who's teaching me everything off my back. Because he's not worried about the other positions. And if I can learn the back positions, then yeah, I'll be competing in this as well. So this will be a fun journey. Thank you for asking.
How long throughout the year should you train heavy for?
I would say 365.
Ooh.
You're always training heavy. There's no such thing as light weights. There's the weight you're using as heavy as you can for the rep range you're going. Clip that, post it, end of story. Anybody tells you different, they're probably broken already, or they're the ones that they had bad form on squats and squatting heavy and have bad knees now. But you always lift heavy. Okay? There is no such thing as light weights. It's stress to the body. And then you got to remember this too. A lot of the greats that have retired talk about rep range and maybe should have used lighter weight. They didn't make it through. They didn't make it through and come out the other side. So whatever they did, and that could be an extra whatever PEDs they did and stuff like that, trashed them. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, me neither.
Ooh, there.
Better? Much better. Those other clips are good though. Sorry. Great question though. But yeah, you're always heavy. Always heavy. You're as heavy as you can for the rep range you're doing.
Boom.
Great question.
Is training 3 times a week good enough to see good results?
Yes. Yes. We had a guy in today that I train 3 times a week. It's all I do. And on top of that, I train him very power bodybuilding. So it's really focused around the incline bench. It's really focused around the squat. It's really focused around different forms of squats and different forms of deadlifts. Very little secondary work. 3 days a week. He is a businessman, agent, and it's 3 hours. He gets about 3.5 hours a week. That's it. He's precise on the diet that I make up for him. And he is the 0.0001% of the entire world. He can squat over 400 pounds. He can deadlift over 500 pounds, and he can incline over 315. And we're talking about a 52-year-old man who has nothing to do with health and fitness. He's solely doing this for longevity.
I'm 14 and trying to work out more. What muscles should I work out the most?
Hips, legs. Just boost that testosterone with the leg training. So a couple times a week. You're 14, so you're still growing. So just train really, really smart. Really smart. Okay.
Mike, advice on how to feed my toddler.
Ooh, this is a great one, guys, because this is something that we really focused on and went into the having a baby. We set up mama for a year prior to having the baby on her eating a certain way. And that was higher fats, higher carbohydrates, protein, but higher calories for a female. Then she had the baby. While she was having the baby, we made sure that we pulled her off of training. Now, I know that you guys might think, wait a minute, I thought you're supposed to train when you have a baby. Stress to the mother is stress to the child. So we kept the stress off of her to let the baby be basically what my baby mama was an incubator for the child. And that being an incubator, we had to feed her enough to where the child was getting fed and no stress to the child. And it worked. And then what we did when he was born was an overload of goat's milk. If you can, buffalo milk is even better. And mixed in with the vitamin D milk. And then we fed him. So there was chicken cutlets and stuff like that. But yeah, we did not get lucky when it came to breastfeeding. She lasted maybe 6 months with breastfeeding, but we wanted a couple years. But yeah, the goat's milk. How old's your toddler? Let us know that as well as this continues on. I want to bring in somebody that I have a tremendous amount of respect for, the real Batman, Clark Batman Bartram.
What's up? Hat or no hat? What do I do here?
Let's see. No, let's go no hat, man. I liked your hair earlier.
All right, let's put it back up. We'll go Johnny Bravo style. There we go.
Let's go Johnny Bravo. Look at that.
Yeah, there it is.
Hi, kid.
What's happening?
You, my friend, you are happening. Thanks for jumping on.
Tell about the duck eggs and trend, though.
Yeah. Hey, so something we were just talking about was somebody was saying do blood work once just to find out where it is. Where's your point of view on blood work?
Vital, necessary. Can join my program unless they do blood work. Actually, we just had a culture call yesterday from my business that I have, and I had the whole team on, and I instructed all of my guys that handle the sales and all of the traffic that no guy gets to enter my program without blood work, period. And I can't take his.
Smart.
His is not good enough. His doctor's recommendation is not good enough. It has to go through what I vetted out and what I found to be the best for me and what I do.
I love that. I love that because I told this person, he said, should I do blood work at least once just to find out where it is? And my thought is, this is something that was not available to us as teenagers or 20-year-olds, because me and Clark competed against each other back in the day. And Clark is a accomplished champion bodybuilder, a beautiful physique, and something that it was not available to us then. You're freaking lucky that it's available to the point where it is now. Can you go into just a little bit about why it's important for guys our age, or before? It's not even this guy right here, guys. You can't fathom. He's 42. Really, not even that. You're the old school 35. But tell us about the blood work and what you found.
Yeah. So you and I are the same in the sense that we have what we'll refer to as a concierge doctor that comes to the house or tests our blood more than the standard of care model would. So if you're a regular guy on insurance, you're going to probably put it off because you're too busy, whatever. There's a whole litany of excuses that Mike and I have heard too many times. But I've been to Mike's house when the blood work person has come over and tested him right there, just to make it easier for him and his schedule. But with that being said, I'm looking at my blood work, and it wasn't regular blood work that I would have received from the doctor. It was something that I chose to do because I always look at these numbers and understand that there's always adjustments that need to be made to keep things in check, not just cholesterol, but everything, liver enzymes, the whole bit. We focus on one thing too much. Oh, what's our testosterone level at? What's our cholesterol at? Anything outside of that, people don't pay attention to. So PSA is one that became very important to me, that I'm now an advocate that every man get tested, because as I was looking at that blood work one day, sitting in the gym parking lot, only like I just said, looking at my testosterone levels, because contrary to popular belief, I'm 100% the natty daddy. I don't do anything. And I was at the time at around 800 coming into 60. And I was getting ready to go on the internet and brag about it. But my concierge doctor said, yeah, that's all great, Clark, but you need to go to your urologist because your PSA is 9.8. So if you know anything, it needs to be below 4, ideally 0. So I drug my feet like a regular guy would do, and I kind of made my way, and it was during COVID and all that, and I finally got there. Fast forward to a day 2 years ago, I was sitting right here in the office. My wife was behind me. I was on the phone with my urologist, or a Zoom call, and I have it on video. It will be seen in my documentary. He said, we did find cancer. And that's my reason for telling everyone, do your blood work, man. And you might not get any sort of response like that. Ideally, that would be the case. But how are you going to know if anything is there? And I'll give you one last quote that in my documentary, we went back to Canton, Ohio, where I grew up at, and they were interviewing my little brother. And it's a really kind of pivotal moment in the trailer where the interviewer says, well, why haven't you gotten checked? And he pauses and he says, because I guess I don't want to find anything bad out. And that's the attitude a lot of guys have, Mike.
Wow, I can't. Like, because you're going to find out in the worst way. So that doesn't make any comprehension to me.
Yeah.
That's
life. That's what guys do. You know, alpha males, typically the tough guys, the hardworking guys, blue collar, they're the ones that unfortunately are the most resistant to doing this sort of stuff because it's there's no time for it. I'll be fine. I don't need to know. Insurance ain't going to cover it. And then if they're getting really honest, I don't like needles and I'm worried to find something out that might be life-changing.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, well, it's real.
It's not our circle of friends. It might be clients, but not circle of friends.
No.
Our circle of friends, and I guess for you guys out there, the unfortunate reality of it, every 7 years they talk about you have a whole new circle of friends. And what I'm proud of is that this cat right here has been in my circle since I was in my 20s. So yeah, this is something that I think everybody really has to comprehend, that it's not just the PSA, but it's other things. It's overtraining. It's your testosterone. It's the cholesterol. It's all this aspect. But Clark's got a great point that what age do they recommend for a PSA? Because I'm assuming as the world is, it's younger and younger.
You exactly right. The standard of care model says 40, 45, some even say 50, but there are other factors that you need to look at when you're doing that. Is, did your dad have it? So my son needs to get checked sooner than anyone else should get checked. And I say the next time you're getting your blood work, just have him throw it in.
Yeah. And
I would say anytime. It doesn't need to even be in your family line, because you just made a point here with today, the way the world is, there's so many factors that go into whether or not we might get a diagnosis like this. It's not one thing. It's not the fact that I live under power lines. Those power lines could have had some part of the overall, situation that caused it. There's environmental stress. There's personal stress. There's exposure to toxins. There's exposure to all sorts of different things. Years back, I think part of my situation was when I was a Marine, I was exposed to JP5 jet fuel. I was doused from head to toe multiple times in my MOS in the Marine Corps. And back then in the 80s, they said, oh, go change your camis and come back to work. There was no precaution. You know?
Wow, you just went Jacob's ladder kind of stuff. Wow. That's old school, brother. That's old school.
Yeah.
Man, but it's true. And I'm glad that the circumstances now, because you did what you did and you stayed positive and you did some cool treatments without just, you check on her? What is she doing?
She's trying to stand up.
Okay.
Oh,
Just check it on
Her
Panda.
paw is
Yeah.
on.
I got you. It's great that you're at your position where you're at now. So
yeah.
proud of you.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. I did some stuff. I did a whole lot of research. And you know what's really cool, Mike, is the fact that about an hour ago, I just got off the phone with a guy who was referred to me by one of my coaching clients. And he said, hey, Clark had it. He wants to talk to any man. So this guy called me out of the blue. I stopped what I was doing. I took the time to talk to him because I know men are afraid. I know they're getting hit with anecdotal information. I know they're being confused by people that love them and care about them with information that might not necessarily be beneficial to them. And after I got done talking to this guy for about an hour, he said, I learned more, Clark, in 1 hour with you than I have with all of the doctors that I've visited with already. Thank you. And I said, there's the blessing in this. There's the blessing. I was just talking about you a minute ago on my live. I was saying that I did your podcast when I first got this diagnosis, and the thumbnail was cancer is a blessing. And because that thumbnail said that, I lost a friend who we both had. You lost him earlier. And someone said, what have you changed about your life since your diagnosis? And I've changed not having toxic people. I've changed not having someone in my life if they're not providing value. If I don't want to be around them and get beautiful energy from them, I'm done. I don't care who it is. And this guy, honestly, I could care less.
You hung in there, though.
Yeah, I was
You
the
hung in
last
there a good
guy.
decade longer than I could.
Yeah. And that's the shame of it. That's how people get so deep into their despair and their just angst for life that you could take someone like me, and you know the situation. This is just me and Mike talking together. Take someone like me and manage to push them out of your life. Oh, wow.
That's a tough thing to do. That's a tough thing to well, I don't want to say it's a tough thing to do. It's you're pretty messed up if you do that, because you're great to have in the squad and in your circle. I'm blessed to have you in my circle. So much so that this is who the Godfather is to my son. Out of everybody I know in this entire world, this is the man right here. So that should tell you something about my belief to him. And then also Mona is a absolutely zero filter when it comes to being honest. And she wouldn't have anybody else except this man. So, all right, what do you got, Jeffrey?
How would you regain full range of motion / mobility of a movement when it's lost to an injury?
I'll go first on this one. Is that all right? So things happen. You get hiccups. The first thing is if you did surgery on it, they even tell you get back into the range of motion more than anything else because of the scar tissue. Nobody wants to go through the breaking up of scar tissue. So that's one of the biggest things. And if you haven't done that and you have like a locked shoulder or something like that, it's a tough thing to come back from if you've waited to get the range of motion. And I think Clark and I can agree on this. More than strength, more than being lean, range of motion is one of the most important things to retain as long as you possibly can. And so people say, well, why do you do behind the neck press or squat to a 12-inch box? And it's because I'm hoping to keep that range of motion, and I do it on top of using weights to not only have range of motion, but to have strength in that range of motion. So Clark, what's your 411 on this?
Yeah, I'll start there and work my way back. Yesterday, I was talking to my daughter, and she was telling me she's going to one of these stretch places that are really becoming big now. And I said, oh, hey, I need the information to that because I finally feel like I'm starting to lose a little bit of mobility. And she laughed. She said, are you serious? You're 61 and you're just now feeling that? And I've been able to have incredible range of motion my entire life. But if you look at coming back from an injury in comparison to how when we came up, you remember anyone in sports, Mike, they got an ACL and they went and had surgery. They made them lay in bed forever back then. They stayed in bed, but now you're instantly out of bed. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the people who understand joints better than anyone, these physicians that study this, know that keeping moving is the key, and keeping moving through full range of motion. I love when Mike gets on these people who don't really truly understand this compared to this. If everyone just does this right now, you'll see where your range of motion is limited. And this is the reason people don't do behind the neck presses, is because they never do that, because they've convinced themselves that it's not good to do that. Well, it's not good to do that if you haven't done that and then you try to do that. Yeah, you're going to hurt yourself. But if you've done it your whole entire life and you've never stopped, then why would you stop because some person on the internet says, oh, don't do that? Don't believe these people. And I hope one of you is on here listening right now. Don't believe yourself, because you are limiting your body's ability to operate in the real world.
Somebody, two people. One person said, Arnold, remember Arnold's front raises? To me, it was artwork. And it was beautiful to watch, and I still watch it. And somebody at the gym says, yeah, this is terrible. Don't do this. Don't do this. And I'm like, geez, wow. But the comprehension of the real world and lifting your kid up, doing something, and you getting injured. Well, yeah, if you treat yourself like a fragile little baby, like they say, you think you're going to get hurt, you're going to get hurt. The Billy Gunn one, I do inclines. And when I do inclines, depends on where I'm putting my elbows and shoulders, but sometimes I'll lift my head up. Most of the time, I'll lift it up, better stretch. And somebody says, you leave your head down because now you're compressing your back. Hold on. You just said, don't lift your head because now you're hurting yourself? That's the level of stupidity these people are going to now. That's a crazy thing to think. Don't lift your head. You're compressing your spine. Wow. I just go back to it all the time, the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's like, you don't realize how dumb these people are. They don't know this. And it's now the Instagram trainers to that level of stupidity that's going to only hurt people. I heard this was bad. What do you mean you heard? What's the quote? It says,
really good example. Go ahead.
There's a quote that says, reading and knowledge. Don't let reading the knowledge make you stupid. It's understanding by doing the example of using it in real world time. And it's like, so when you learn something, go out and try it or attempt to do it. Is there anything close to that? Don't let reading
knowledge make you stupid. That's basically what's coming out.
So yeah, don't let reading knowledge make you stupid. Take the information, go apply it, see if it works for you. Now it may not work for you. So go for it, Clark.
So let's say you're a bro science guy and I'm a real science guy. I would rather listen to a bro science guy any day of the week, especially at your age, especially at your strength, especially with all of your experience, especially with all of your exposure, like to different people and that have fed into you so you understand, right? But the example I wanted to give you was you brought it up the other day when you were talking about being able to tussle, being able to live real life. God forbid you ever get in a fight, because it's not going to be like this in a fight. It's going to be like this and like that. So the example is, in Mike's house in the living room, Titan has wrestling mats. And there's no way possible on planet Earth that the circles we run in, that two men who stand up at the same time and happen to be on a mat aren't going to get after it, right? It's impossible. I can't think of it. Like I got to, even if it's an opponent that I know I'm going to get my ass kicked. And that's exactly what happened at Mike's house. So we got our friend Bobo. He's there. He outweighs me by at least 80 pounds. But we stood up and I'm like,
80. I'm saying 100. You're being nice to him. He's about 285.
okay, yeah. So he's a hundo over me. But even knowing I'm going to get smashed, which I literally did, my face went right.
No, you
into,
didn't. No, you didn't.
Well,
you tossed his ass. You tossed his ass. He didn't get you until he got on the ground all the way.
So, but to Mike's point, my head was down, all the way down, out of alignment. And if I lifted like that, a science-based trainer would destroy me. Is Clark really teaching this? You know what didn't happen to me after a 100-pound guy smashed my face into the mat? Number one, he didn't pin me. Number two, I had a little bit of a stiff neck at first, but I was in jeans, not warmed up. I didn't go, let's go. We both stood up and went after it. This is called life, people. So God forbid you have to defend your family. God forbid something falls on you. God forbid you have to do anything that is not in a perfect situation. We train for life. Mike always talks about being an athlete first. Every single person on planet Earth is an athlete. You are an athlete. A mom is an athlete. You don't think a lady with a baby on her hip and lifting a can over, that's not athletic? Come on, man. So again, I'm going to tell you that these people, men or women, young or old, degreed or not degreed, who are running around telling you that Mike's style of training, we'll call it, isn't effective and smart, is really very ignorant. Very ignorant.
Backtrack for a second. There's tons of information out there. So for you guys, if you can, take in consideration who you're getting the information from. That's first and foremost. So if it's a 40-year-old that has been through the ringer and already destroyed, most likely listen to what he says he should have done, not what he did. Now, if you're in your 40s and you're already destroyed, you didn't do it right. 40 is a very young person. That's a third less than my age. It's a third lesson. So the point of Clark's debate about the real life stuff, it goes back to the Bruce Lee, I think it is, better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. You never know when situations are going to happen. You're never going to know when you have to pick up the misses. You never know when you're going to have to tussle, or when you just putting the peanut butter in the top drawer, in the top shelf. It's those kind of situations where you live a fragile life. That body's going to be a fragile thing. And what I like about Clark is that he was willing, both physically and even better, mentally, to tussle a 285-pound D1 fullback from Alabama just because we had mats on the floor. That's cool. I don't know about you guys, but I am going to die as young, as late as possible. And so I'm still in that high school mode of, I like, first period is training, second period is jujitsu, third period is tussling with my son, fourth period is banter with Jeff and Mona. It's like, it's still that for me. And it's a fun way to live for me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Actually, it was Bobo yesterday. I was doing a live, and we always get the question, how old are you? And when I answer, some people are surprised. Some people want to say, oh, you look 80 or whatever. But, and they said, how is it that you look younger than your age? And I said, because I approach life that same way. I approach life with joy. I love what I do. I love who I do it with. And Bobo's response was, and you don't act your age. And I don't. I act like a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old. And honestly, the majority of the people that I run around with are half my age and not nearly as fit as I am. And that gives me that young energy. My daughter even said it the other day. She's like, do you have any friends your age? You're always hanging out with like Mitch's football buddies. Like when I coached football at Escondido High School, all of those kids that played with my son still come around here and still want to hang out with me because I have young energy. And I think that's what keeps you vital in life. And that's really what we're searching for, is vitality and youthful energy and enthusiasm and excitement for what's next. You know, I'm doing work around the house. I'm carrying chairs awkwardly. I just picked up this heavy chair, super awkward, back to weird training. Like the last time we trained together, you had me doing upright rows on the bench, but hunched over like this. That just came in handy for me. It literally just came in handy because I had to pick up a chair like this, and I was out of position. I was hunched over, and I was able to pick that thing up to the point where it fell apart and move it without getting hurt. Next chair. There we go. So,
Good to go. We're on set the other day, and I'm doing a shoot for Young LA, and it's like, this is great. Me and Mona are there, right? And we're around these. It's exactly what it is. It's Young LA. They're young bucks. But it was cool for two folds. One is, remember the old TVs? Remember the old TVs that you go, dude, you got to come over and help me because this thing's a 50-inch TV in this big box. Trying to move those back in the day.
Oh.
But the other thing I thought was great is that we get to hang out with these youngsters doing this shoot, and I'm playing Superman. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure you could find a 25-year-old, mostly in California, that could play Superman, but they come to me. And I think that goes along with what Clark is saying, is that we still get to do this because we're in it and we got the passion for it, and we never stepped away from it. And that's kind of a lucky thing that we had the mind approach, which I think if you can pick up anything from Clark, just pick up the mind approach that the way he lives his life is do that. Don't do this thing where they go, hey, I look good for 40. Hey, I look good for. You're comparing yourself to the rest of the world. Have you seen the rest of the world?
Sure.
That's not something I want to compare. That in any world, I want to compare to that. So, yeah, take the mindset of what Clark is saying right now, right there. I know it's a comic book, but that's basically what you look like, kid. So
I'll talk about the mindset piece real quick with this. So this comic book I wrote, when I went into my treatment, they told me you're going to be sick, you're going to be tired, you're going to be this, you're going to be that, you're not going to be able to go to the gym. I said no. And then I started thinking about shifting the mindset from what the world does to what we do, right? And Mike often refers to, I played Batman, he played Superman. So we've had this touch with the actual superheroes in our lives. So we oftentimes will refer to ourselves as superheroes because, we legitimately have this, right? So I thought to myself, if Peter Parker was exposed to radiation through a spider and the Hulk was exposed to radiation to nuclear fallout and turned into this, what could Clark Bartram do? So my treatment was very specific. So I took that concept and I wrote this comic book with that in mind, that these radioactive pellets that they put in me to get rid of this cancer are what shifted me and gave me strength, intelligence, and compassion. That's right here. And if you look at that, that's an acronym. It says SICK. So when the world says, are you sick? Yeah, I have strength, intelligence, and compassion. So this superhero called the Beacon took that radioactive exposure and turned it into something that's really affecting people in a very positive way. So, yeah.
when will that be out, and where can they find it?
It's going to be out. I should have the physical copies mailed to me any day now. They've been printed, and they'll be on my website, clarkbartramsystems.com. And all the proceeds go to my nonprofit organization, Check It Like a Man.
Okay, there we go. We got a question for you.
Clark, here's one for you. Clark, besides family and overall health, what competitive juices have you still wanting to continue to improve?
Well, I think what me and Mike just talked about thanks for the question, is really being physically capable to take care of myself if necessary. I love to wrestle. I love engaging in combat with other people to test and see what I'm capable of, man. I just like that. I've always liked the physical things in life. And I still run around and play football. I'll run routes and stuff for younger people. Matter of fact, I was just the other night with the president of the San Diego Strike Force, which is an arena football team. And I told him, I said, hey, give me a tryout. I'll come and play a couple.
I love that.
You know, and those are the types of things, because I look out there and in my mind, like every guy, I'm like, I think I can still do that. But I really do think I can still do that. If I get hit, am I going to hurt like hell? Yeah, but I stay in the fight. I'm not taking blows. I'm not being moved around to the point where that wouldn't be something that is completely foreign to me. It wouldn't be. So yeah, everything. I like to compete. I like to see what I can do, man. So
Let me just give some insight onto Clark's son was a great quarterback, and he played for the school down there in San Diego. And Clark would go out and play with the football team and play wide receiver for his son and help out the team as like an assistant coach. But he was out there running routes and schooling these college and high school and everybody. So it's cool to see that process that he went through with your son, going through that process. And, it's cool. It was cool to see you tussle. And this isn't long ago, guys. I'm not talking about this is like 30 years ago, like the picture he just showed, but this is recent. So try to stay, what's the word? Viral? What's the word that you always use?
vibrant, vital.
Yeah. So yeah, just keep living that life, guys. Stay in the mix. Tussle. I love that question for Clark. Give us another one, Jeffrey.
I want better obliques. How do you get that gnarly edged look for those? I have lats and abs, but I wish my obliques were shreddy.
If you got everything else, I'm thinking a dry out, a peak week. That's all you would need. What's your take on that?
Yeah. So since that part is covered, I just had this conversation with one of my clients. He's like, Clark, it's getting harder and harder to see more gains. I said, because you're not 50 pounds overweight anymore. You're now trying to get the last two bottom abs. And the last two bottom abs, and that includes the obliques in the lower back, really are the last thing, for the most part, that hold on in every single guy on planet Earth that's trying to get that look, because everyone wants that V line, right? Everyone wants to see that down into there. So if it's not the dry out, it's body fat. So it's one or the other. So you got to be honest with yourself. Do you have low enough body fat percentage right now, or could you continue to do the 30-day blitz? You have one more round of the 30-day blitz. Is that what you need? It works.
It works well. It's tough. It's tough. Great question.
I might do it.
You're gonna do it? Oh, yeah. I got 2 more weeks, and this next, which is great. This movie I'm doing called Clay is filmed, but it's all filmed in Detroit. And so this next portion of the film that we're filming is the big fight. So I got 2 more weeks of getting ready, and we just did that wasn't the big fight. Yeah, they set me up to be a savage in this movie. Oh,
they
so
went
good.
Shredded.
He's not going to see this. No, he doesn't want me shredded, but I'm going to go shredded. I want to be just ridiculous. I want to look good.
So you are going to come in just stupid.
I'm going to come in stupid. I want people to look and go, I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah. It's awesome. Fun. It's fun. But yeah, I'll be doing that dry out for this project, just that final touch. And that's that lower, like Clark said, it's absolutely right. It's the lower abs, the intercostal, just that lower back fine tune. And when that's in, physique is done. The glute hamstring tie is perfect. It's ready. Great question.
When that's gone, you don't need the right lighting to look good. I remember James DeMello said a long time ago, he said, if you're searching for the right lighting to look good, you got more work to do.
Wow.
Think about
Dude.
it.
Yeah. Jeffrey says that to me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't bring it. And it's
No.
fair. It's fair. There's times that I'm shooting and I look and I go, and he goes, you didn't bring it. And it's right. It has to be on point, and then you're done. It doesn't matter where you are. You can be in pitch black and you still look good.
That's the thing too about so I was getting ready for the Ironman cover shoot here, and I came in my opinion, probably the best I've looked in a long time for a cover. And people were asking me, hey, what do you do the last couple days before? I personally, I don't do anything. I don't change anything because I don't want to risk having a carb overload or dehydrating so much that I get flat. I just walk in like I walk in every other day, anywhere else, because my mindset is I should be ready. If I'm Clark Bartram, the guy that they're putting on magazine covers, I should be ready anytime they call me. And that's kind of how I built my career was, hey, I'm Clark Bartram and I'm always in shape. And that turned out to be a good deal for me overall. And it still works to this day.
So if you don't follow that along, guys, a lot of us old school guys would go off season, put on some size, and then we'd cut up for a show. And then we'd do the show, and that's when we'd get our covers. And Clark figured out before everybody that he goes, well, you guys keep doing that. I'm going to stay in shape. And just when they call, and I'll always be the guy in shape. And it worked incredibly well for Clark. And I think Clark probably has the most Ironman covers of any person in history. So,
Arnold first and then me.
Well, there you go. Arnold's
Arnold,
got me on Muscle and Fitness as well. He's got me on covers as well, but
they just gave him covers every single year because he was the Arnold. That's what they did with Ironman. Every year they put him on the cover of Ironman. So however many years that
it's not bad though, kid. Me and Arnold. It's not bad. And we're still here.
Yeah.
Look at all that. That's all Clark Bartram there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Whew. When are you starting your OnlyFans account?
It's already started. Mona subscribes. You didn't see.
All right.
After dark, baby.
Clark After Dark. That's gold. Let's go one more question.
Best way to kickstart the metabolism if you suspect it's starting to slow down on a cut/bulk.
Well, there's no such thing as you threw me there. You said a cut/bulk. There is no cut/bulk. You're either cutting or you're bulking. So I'm confused.
That's like
I don't know what
screen right here. You're either Michael Hearn or Clark Bartram. There ain't.
That's what he's saying. How do you kickstart it if it's slowing down on
a cut or a bulk? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Go for it. Clark, talk
How
to
do you
us.
start your metabolism if you want to cut? So I don't know anything about bulking because, to Mike's point just now, I don't do that. I've been 185 consistently forever. So if you're feeling your metabolism is slowing down, the first thing I would do is go back to what Mike said earlier about mindset. People need to understand that oftentimes these plateaus, as we refer to them, are new starting points because you've improved yourself that much. So you're now at the ceiling of where you were once at the bottom floor, and you're breaking through to a new level. So if you shift your mindset like, hey, this is slowing down because I'm getting better. I just am going for those last 2 abs now instead of all of them. But if you truly feel your metabolism is slowing down, I always go back to really basic stuff like the Weider principle, for example, of confusion. You confuse your body. Go from the elliptical, if that's your form of cardio, to a Stairmaster. It could be something that basic. There's not, more often than not, to do a drastic thing. And if you're truly at the point where you've exhausted all lifestyle intervention measures, then maybe at that point you look at some sort of help with a peptide or something like that that might help you get over the hump. But there's so many factors that need to be brought into the equation. You can't just look at it in a silo. Like, okay, this is happening, therefore that needs to happen. We're way more complicated than that.
Yeah, make sure that I always say that Batman has this utility belt, and Batman, what he doesn't do is he doesn't use all aspects of the utility belt. He could use this one day and this another day. But as you're cutting up, there may be a time that you've used them all up and now you're plateaued, and you always want to stay ahead of the plateau. So I'm slicing and dicing right now, and my body has slowed. So what I did is I incorporated a high day just to bump it up again. And that way I can get a couple more days of really good training, which will keep the metabolism moving forward to where I'll keep getting leaner and leaner and leaner. So that's just something you have to understand. Have you used up all your tools? So hopefully not, but at the last couple weeks, we usually do. It's like Lee Priest always talks about, or Jay is like, at that point, you're doing 2 sessions of cardio, 45 minutes on the stepper, which I luckily never had to do. Whew, holy sheesh. 2 training sessions. Your carbohydrates are at an all-time low of 50 grams. So those are all kind of things you use as you're dieting down to be the most badass you as possible. And then when it finally gets down there to the end, like Clark said, all his points were accurate. Maybe a peptide, maybe rest one day and came back. That might be a trick that you can use. But you have to understand your body. And this is the coolest thing about it. You keep your journal and you keep making notes and you keep finding out how your body's functioning. Because no matter how it functions at 20, it's going to function different at 30. It's going to function different at 40. So what tools can you use and what notes do you have written down? My recommendation is write them down. And then Robbie Robinson, probably the greatest longevity next to Jack LaLanne, and Frank Zane both said that, and I've done this, I loved my 97 universe. That was, if I could have that physique every day, I'd probably, well, no, not me. I like change. But I did try to do the same diet and training principle for that. Didn't work. Same thing Robbie Robinson said and Frank Zane said. They said, that Robbie almost won, and he would have won if he didn't peak 2 weeks early. Yeah. And even Frank Zane said, Robbie would have beat me. If he competed 2 weeks before when I saw him, I was done. But he peaked too early, came into the show flat, where Frank peaked on time. And they both said they did the same diets following years, and it never worked the same. So you, my friends, this is why I say there's no such thing as maintaining. We're getting older. It's going to change. Unless you're trying to get better, you're going backwards.
That's a good place to end this whole thing. That honestly, that's
I think you taking off your shirt is a good place to end this whole thing. Let's be honest.
You want to do that? You want to do that?
Whoa, look at that boy. Woo-hoo-hoo. Dang. You look good, kid.
Got to be ready. I'm Clark Bartram. I'm always in shape. Who wants me on their cover?
Oh, I'll take you. I'm going to go sign up right now on your OnlyFans, Clark After Dark. Guys, go over there to OnlyFans right now. Clark After Dark, $9.95 a month. Is it?
Yeah.
Later, kid.
Peace. Love you, man. Bye, everyone.
Bye, buddy.